Our next witness is witness 83.
What was the number of the next witness? Apologies.
It's witness 83, page 17 of your bundle. The witness is testifying about the killing of his brother Nasser, who was shot dead in Fardis, Karaj on 17 November 2019. Thank you for assisting the tribunal, Mr. Witness. The tribunal, the chairman would swear you in now.
Thank you, Mr. Witness, for agreeing to testify. Please, would you repeat after me? I do solemnly declare that I will speak the truth.
I solemnly declare to speak the truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
There'll be questions now from prosecuting counsel, and then the panel may have some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rezaei, for joining us this morning. Your brother Nasser called you in the afternoon of 17th November during the demonstrations. Please let the tribunal know what happened after this call.
بعد از اینکه 26 آبان بله بعد اینکه برادر من
After my brother contacted me, he said that there were bullets being shot, and about half an hour later we contacted him, and he said that he was in Ahari Street. We called him to see how he was, but somebody else answered. And he said that my brother was shot in the eye and he was being taken to the hospital. I have recorded the voice of the individual who responded. I've sent it to the court. You can even broadcast it if you want.
The video of the phone call.
میدونی بله تماس دارم.
I do have it. Hello. Do you know whose telephone this is? The individual has been shot. He's been shot in the eye, in the head. Which hospital? We are taking him to the hospital, Qaim Hospital. Is he alive? I don't know. He's unconscious. He doesn't breathe. Just rush to the hospital.
Mr. Rezaei, I'm very sorry for your loss, but please go on.
Afterwards, we went to Karaj. We arrived there at night. We are from Kurdistan. From Kurdistan, we went to Karaj. So we arrived there at night. They didn't allow us to see the body at the hospital. They told us to go there the following day. The body was in the morgue. Even the following day, they didn't allow us to see the body. We were told to wait for the ambulance to go there, and they said they would identify the body and then they will send it to us and they will allow us to take him. When the ambulance came, we went and identified the body, and we said that we should take the body to the Bibi Sakina of Karaj cemetery. So the body was taken by the ambulance to the Bibi Sakina of Karaj, and up to 6 p.m., the body was not submitted to us. We went from one room to the other. It finally became 6 p.m. At 6 p.m., the body was given to us. We said that we will take the body to our own town. So they asked us to commit that. It was verbal commitment. We said that we will arrive at night. They asked us to commit that we will bury the body at the night. We said that we will arrive too late, but they said that you should commit that you would bury the body as soon as you arrive. After we got to our own town, we saw that there were some security forces there. There were the police force and some security cars waiting there at the town entry and at the cemetery. So we had to bury the body at the night. We buried the body, and the following day we held a very limited ceremony. The IRGC members came and they had held a TV interview with us. And they wanted to say that our brother was not a protester and he was just a passerby. We said that our brother was only taking part in peaceful protests. And he at most had chanted some slogans. My brother was a poet and he was an agriculture engineer. He was not a person who would get involved in sabotage activities. Anyway, they interviewed us, and afterwards, they didn't allow us to hold any ceremonies. On the 40th day of the death of the child, they said that they wouldn't allow us to hold any ceremonies either. My father prepared a video for justice seeking. Afterwards, he was taken to the IRGC and he was told that he was not allowed to make any further videos for justice seeking or like that. Thank you, that was all. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Were you able to bury your brother in accordance with your customs and tradition?
بله.
Yes. Yes, we could do so, according to the customs and traditions. The family members had come, so the police force could not do much afterwards. A lot of our relatives and family members had come to the cemetery, so nobody could stop us after.
Tell the tribunal about the forced interview that you or your father had given to the state TV.
فقط به ما
They only gave us a paper, and they said that we should repeat whatever they told us. For example, they said that we should say that our brother was just a passerby, and we had to repeat whatever they told us.
In your statement, you say you did not file a complaint. Can you explain to the tribunal why you didn't do that?
That was because my father said that when it is clear who is the killer, when it is clear who the complainant is, so who should we complain against? Well, when we don't know who has been the killer, who am I going to complain against?
The tribunal may now have some questions for you. Thank you for your statement.
خواهش میکنم.
I'm at your service.
A couple of questions. You said, Mr. Witness, that you were permitted or not prevented from having a burial and a funeral according to your customs. But you also noted in your statement, I think, that you were being pressured to do it as soon as you arrived in the town, even though you arrived in the town at 11 o'clock. Is that right? 11 o'clock at night, I mean.
Yes, it was 11 p.m. and they had put the shroud on the body in Bibi Sakina cemetery, and we were only allowed to bury the body. The grave had been dug, and we just put the body there. We did not hold any ceremony at the time. We just arrived at night. The shroud was ready, and the grave was dug. So we just put the body in the graveyard.
So the authorities basically wanted it done as quickly and as quietly and as secretly as possible. Is that the impression you were given, or is that what you were told?
Yes. Nobody buries anybody at night. In our town, in Iran, nobody buries a body at night. We have certain customs and traditions, among which is that the bodies should be buried during the day, but they asked us to bury the body at night.
Or did you form an impression as to why they wanted that to happen?
Well, they wanted nobody to gather. It was the time of protests, and there was some unrest, so they didn't want a large number of people to gather. They didn't want many people to be around us. That's what our impression was. They didn't want any tension, maybe. They thought that if the body was buried during the day, that may lead to some tension.
Okay, thank you very much. There'll be some more questions, Mr. Witness. Justice Yaqub.
Thank you very much. Is there a tradition in your family to have tombstones?
Yes, we do. Yes, we have tombstones.
Did you have a tombstone for this person's grave?
Yes, we had no problem with regards to tombstone. They didn't create any problems. They allowed us to put a tombstone there.
Okay. And just one more thing, which is not for you. If the other members of the panel agree, we've had the translation of the telephone call. I would like to hear the tones of voices and so on. So if it is technically possible, I would like us to hear the original recording in the Iranian, even though we will not understand the language, if that is okay. But I leave that to the chair and to council to determine. Thank you very much.
I will not translate.
Council, is that possible?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm just asking for this to be relayed again.
Maybe we should ask if the witness.
الو سلام
جناب این خط رو میشناسی بهش زنگ زدی؟
خب چی شده؟
تیر خوردی داداش.
کجاشه؟
چشمش تو سرش.
کدوم بیمارستان؟
الان دارم میبرمش بیمارستان قائم.
زنده است؟
نمیدونم بیهوشه، نفس نمیکشه. فقط شما سر خودتو برسون بیمارستان قاهره.
Again, Mr. Rezaei, I'm very sorry for your loss and the fact that you have to go through this again.
No problem. I am sorry I couldn't control my tears. Forgive me for that.
We fully understand. Thank you.
Certainly, Mr. Witness, nothing to forgive. Take your time. Justice Yacoub, do you have questions?
I have no further questions, and thank you very much to the witness, and I'm sorry for having caused the trouble again.
Ms. Firstman?
Thank you, Mr. Witness. I just have one question. In your testimony, you refer to they very often. You use the word they. So they wouldn't let you do this, or they provided this information. Can you give us any indication who you are referring to specifically? Not necessarily the names, but is it a particular group? Is it a particular part of the government? Who were you communicating with after?
Plain clothes officers, they were police officers. When I say they, it's because some of them had plain clothes and some of them had police, so I just referred to them in general as they.
And with respect to the conversations that you had with respect to the interview, and that they told you or they requested that you say it was a passerby. Who was it in that instance, the they?
They were from IRGC. There were 3 men and 1 woman. They had come from the IRGC of our city. They put a piece of paper in front of me. They came with a camera and they said, whatever we have written on the paper, you should repeat and look in the camera and say it.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Counsel, I think that's all the questions from the panel. Do you have any follow-up?
No follow-up, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Rezaei.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank you, everyone who's organized the Iran Atrocities Tribunal. Thank you.